Okay, it's the Audit and Finance Committee. It doesn't look like there's going to be a tremendously long meeting on this topic unless you've got some updates, but we all got the financials, budget to review. Anyone have any questions, or does the staff have any commentary to update us on the financials?
No.
Checking account though is a reflection of money that's going to be going out soon for Angio and other things.
Yeah, we do have some Anjo bills on the books, so yes.
Yeah.
And the NICEAG, that, right? That'll eventually.
That'll eventually, we put in a second drawdown request, and that includes right now the amount that NICEAG has estimated that the gas line will fall. That check, hopefully, we'll send that to NICEAG and they can start working.
We also have go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the CRC also has a CD that's about to mature, so I have rates coming in for that right now.
Is the county money in the checking account also? or-
Yes.
Yes.
That answers my
Yeah,
question.
the two big add-ons was the 770,
The 733.
733,
Right.
EDA, and then the 600,000.
And the grant funding and the 600,
Yeah.
right?
Which is pretty much 95% of what's in the account. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
What are we planning to do with the county money in the interim?
Or
Should we have
child
a
plan.
plan? I mean, dead money sitting in the account just because it freed us, then
We have to look at the cash flow going on, what expenses are coming, and but it would reasonably arbitrage the difference. To try to get some return until you understand exactly where you are,
Put it
you
to
can pay
work.
back.
Seemed to me it would make sense to do nothing until the final sale of the business park.
yeah, I would.
Which is coming, what, July? August?
Well, the
We'll hold you to it, you can guess.
The maps for the Manor property were filed on Monday, and the two deeds were supposed to be filed by today. And that allows the two attorneys one from us and one from the buyer, to authorize the title search payments and
Title insurance?
title insurance.
Because, okay, you'll have the new description, the new deed file, and then the title insurance will be issued based on that.
Right, so I'm expecting within the next 2 weeks we'll close. I was hoping to close sooner, but they had difficulty filing the maps until this week.
So we're saying July, possibly, going forward.
Yeah, it's a bad July.
Yeah, so we should then probably just, it can be offline in a committee, but if you guys are keeping up, we should have a discussion about that, when that occurs, and look at the cash flow and decide what we're doing.
Right, I would assume that money that we receive would be put into the CD.
But we'll talk about, that's what we'll talk about, because we have to look at the cash flow, so.
Good
Morning, Greg.
That's the only question I have.
Hold on, do we start over?
You barely started.
Just started. All you missed, Craig, was,
No, it's all right, don't worry about it.
no, we just talking about the sale happening in July. So. So if there's no other questions, that, any new or unfinished business, we hit it all, right? All right. All you have?
Okay,
Guess we're finished.
project committee meeting. I'll hold my remarks. Jody will give us an expedited update on traffic markers, because traffic, we got things going on. Good thing completion, so getting near, right?
Yeah. On the only other rail yards, we did put out a request for proposals. Back July 23rd, the contractors will do site inspections. We did mail them out to 8 different contractors around. Hopefully we'll get some return.
And it's now 8 acres instead of 5.
I'm sorry?
It's 8 acres instead of 5.
Yes.
Related to that, is it the roundhouse chimney
The chimney that stands up there?
that stands up there?
chimney.
We own that, correct?
That's correct.
That's crumbling.
It made good fill. But we need to fill it most spots. I don't know, not nostalgic group connection to anything in this world, so just.
Is that within the 8 acres we're looking at?
Yes. So we're gonna see what the contractors come back and say about that.
Okay, let's see, a protest. Yeah, save the chimney.
Tell them what's on their wall.
Don't say that, don't say that.
roundhouse,
Don't say that on the screen.
Great sign for country clubs, motors.
I don't think so, we're not.
Okay.
Richfield,
Richfield.
I see some communication go back and forth, on the neighbors want water now that we've drawn a line.
That was my question too.
The water line was tested. They have to do a second test. When the village opens the valve permanently, they have to do a chlorine test to the state health department. But that's really the village's issue, not ours.
Right.
I did include in here the minutes for the last meeting we had last week.
Yep.
That gives you a little bit of update as to what's going on there. The town of Richfield Monday night did approve the Richfield Spring subdivision, so that I'll file next week with the county. And DOT extended the work permit. Angel estimates as of, I think it was on Friday, that it's gonna take 4 to 6 weeks to complete. And they're trying to get a hold of Leipzig now to say what they're gonna do with the gas. That's kind of a quick update.
4 to 6 weeks to complete the installation of the sewer line or, but not, and the gas line or?
They're hoping to get the gas line in within that time.
And the note that you have here regarding the locals are going to look at, see if now they can look up the houses near there. And the conversation going between us and them. I mean, we get this done, we're not going to own that line, right?
No.
So it's between them and them.
Yes, it'd probably be actually owned by Andela.
Speaking of which, is there movement there? Financing and is she giving us anything to work with?
She said she was working on getting a purchase offer to the board. And that's the last I heard.
5 years later.
Can I go back to the neighbor connection?
Yes,
And whether they're working, obviously if the connection means you tie into the main water line. Or is it also gonna be a sewer line?
There's also gonna be a sewer.
But they wanna tie into both, is that what they're suggesting?
That's the suggestion. I'm not sure that the village and the town are gonna agree to that. Because originally it was just for our industrial park, not for other users.
It makes sense for them to put other users on it to make money.
It would make sense that they sized it for that,
Exactly.
I hope so.
if that's the question.
My question relates directly to who are they suggesting is responsible for the connection at the main? Us? Is that what they were suggesting? In that conversation?
Was that a conversation
Taylor?
between IDA and the
Yeah.
water district?
Yeah.
We are done when we turn over the keys.
Yes.
Is there a water line? Or somebody else is not the IDA?
Was it
It would be the town's ownership, but we're still responsible for maintaining part of it.
Yeah, but not for hooking people up and all that other stuff.
No.
It's a water district, we should be taking care of that. Yeah, so I just notice that we're named in it, and I don't understand why we would be part of the conversation. Because I think we're done, we want to be done, right?
I think we're part of the conversation because if they want to make a project change right now to make those hookups, it would be on
Yes.
us to make that decision.
right? That's my point.
We don't want to do that. Get
So
done.
not to be a capitalist, but if we're doing the project, while we're doing the project, we own it, right?
That's correct.
Yep.
And if somebody wants to tap in while we're doing the project, is there a fee that we could collect?
I guess without knowing the engineering involved in what, we don't know. Right?
You're responsible, if
Insufficient information around the conclusion at this point.
you wanna run water to a house from a main, the homeowner's responsible for that connection in the car. So we're not, that's the question, he's saying, wouldn't it be a good idea to look at that right now with the.
Well, I'm saying, can we earn money
Exactly.
now to do that? But it's just a question.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, take care of that opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity. if we could. Okay, so Richfield, can we have a follow-up conversation with Cynthia and see what we can get? I mean, we gotta, she couldn't nudge her just a little bit. We need something, but we need to put it on the market. Period. Don't you all think?
Right, I'll tell you that today.
I mean, help with her out, that's fine, but something or get off the pot. And, anything else on project trackers? Updates?
No, there's 3 new projects on there. We're all in the really early stages. Probably the most advanced one is with the Kira 1880, because they are looking at doing a lot of improvements to their property on Brown Street this fall.
This is Pusterma?
Is it still a box plant? Yes, we're doing the same thing.
Just one, by the county.
Other, something I would mention over on Brown Street, some more siding, sheathing or something has come off the same wall.
Access.
Way up on top, we need to have somebody stop by, you want to go look at it, take a picture, get a contractor and see what he can, and make sure that stays. Deteriorates as little as possible.
Okay. You drive on Brown Avenue. You drive on Brown Avenue too much.
But with the baseball camps, it's easier to get from my house to the intersection of 88.
Brown Street.
That's why I noticed it recently, because my tracks have been changed. Anything else?
Megan, I, and Michelle did a virtual Zoom meeting yesterday with Empire State Development, and they have several new grant programs out. Megan's looking at the option of doing some improvements to the soccer fields. So we'll be back to you with that proposal on that.
What are we talking about improvements? Is this the watering system?
Well, they have $100 million right now for unplug and play. So we this is a quick discussion yesterday afternoon, so. When we went back to the Asadi, remember when they said that they would potentially donate a dome? Well, what if, there's all this money out there, what if we could get some of that money and actually do a dome? So we had a conversation about it yesterday, but it's only open for a month, so it's a quick turnaround if we wanted to do it.
Do you have that's a good thought, but do you have a outline of what qualifies under the?
So it's youth community centers, even elderly community centers. So the whole premise is.
Wait a minute, that's a totally different meaning on unplug and play for the elderly.
Yeah, well, it said that was eligible. So we thought of like the gathering place, we talked about it for Fridays, because they're trying to buy that building, so that might be a good option for them. So it's really just unplugging, so. It's aimed at community centers.
Now, is this
basically.
because the state of New York has an abundance of funds?
Yeah, we're
Oh, cool.
flush, Tom, so.
Good enough.
One of the other things that Megan mentioned to me yesterday was there is money in that program for operations as well.
So you could essentially get funds to hire someone who would run it for 2 years until it's self-sustaining and then, or not 2 years, anyway. So it's just a quick discussion, it may not turn into anything, but.
Okay, new and unfinished business. We're down there. One thing I have a question, are we anywhere with anything about the next phase in our development of economics around here, as in a facility, some land, a place, after, when and if we sell those, the 2 out of 3 of the industrial parks we currently have? And you don't tell me what it is, but you kind of.
Yes. I'm working on that. Obviously, once we get the proposal back for the only our rail yards, we'll be in a better position to know whether we can go ahead with that or not. But that right now is obviously high on the list to move ahead. But I do have one or two other options that we're exploring right now to future economic development.
Okay. What's going on with Brooks?
Brooks, they've started he sent me a proposal right now for all the new equipment he needs for his new sauce line. He's actually developed gourmet sauce lines that he's marketing himself. It's about $200 in additional equipment he wants. And I did forward his suggested improvements to Empire State Development, because they funded it last time. And when the regional director came down to meet with me about 3 weeks ago, she wasn't interested in furthering Brooks' ability to do his expansion. The problem with Empire State Development is that they will only do up to 20% of the total project cost. And we think it's a small cities grant, another, let's say, 40%, that's 60%. I'm not sure you're gonna come up with the extra matching funds, the 40% that is short.
These are grants, though, right?
The two that we're looking at platform are grants, but he would have to come up with matching funds.
But just to juxtapose, if you were walking in buying equipment and putting it in, you'd have to have 20% quicker, so buy it. And then finance the difference. Now you're talking about 40 to 60% in grant money that he doesn't have to put.
That's correct.
I mean, so it's in a much better position if you can get qualified for it.
So
Yeah, you're only
Is the
financing
plan,
40.
do you think the plan's to put it in that plant right there?
right now, that's his plan, is to put it in where his existing manufacturing site is.
Have you talked to him about sewer?
There was a heavy discussion regarding sewer when the former town supervisor was there. And I think that whole discussion on extending sewer down there has kind of been put on hold until they.
They're still talking about it,
Yes.
but it's, you know, quick as fire.
But he hasn't talked to you about it.
Sewer versus septic.
Yeah, 100%.
Misguided.
Build it in the wrong place.
They build a significant water treatment.
Yeah, the cost of keeping that is
Yes,
tremendous.
killing it.
Yeah.
But if you bought water from this town currently, that it would kill it, you know, it's expensive to run it.
There is, as part of the new PSD funding, supposedly monies for infrastructure improvements into basically water and sewer. So we're looking into that as well.
For him?
For East End, right, or just for him?
It would have to be more than just him. I mean, so it would actually probably also be the properties along that border.
Well, you know, the town's already done some work as far as laying out what they would do, maybe there's a.
I thought it went as far as price chopper, actually.
I wanted to go a little farther, but first step first. If any way we could help the town move that along. Public sewer and water is a sign of civilization, so we should endeavor to make that happen.
If you say it is, I
I
agree.
say it so well and definitive, you just believe it, see?
Yeah.
It's a nice car, really. Any other business, do we on?
That little roadway that Mr. May
Yeah,
has put in, we come up with a price and, that's been surveyed, right? Is there
exactly.
any reason we can't take money, get some money from him for that?
We have told them what the survey costs were, and we told them what the cost of, based on the appraised value, what you would have to pay for that. And he is,
Well, looking at it driving past,
It's
the
done.
road's almost done.
Done.
So at what point is that, as the people who own the real estate, do we say to him, thank you, sir, we would like to be paid? I mean,
The survey is done?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could sell it and convey it, correct? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I Ed will ignore us as long as we let it.
Can you share the survey costs and then what we said we would?
Yeah, I can email that to you.
Please, yeah.
That's
I mean, once again, it's something we can get finished and off the plate, you know,
Yeah.
done, tie it up. finished.
Add more to the checking account.
Yeah. Any other business?
Just an interpretation of the archaeological that you put in your report. That, the follow up with the DEC. I wasn't quite clear what that meant. Means, I mean, New York State Parks Director and Historic Preservation signed off pretty much, correct?
Yes. What the report is basically is two phases. Phase one is what the written report that was already sent into state historic preservation. The second follow-up is they took a lot of samples of chips of arrowhead, not even full arrowheads, on charcoal and stuff. And those are being sent to laboratories to determine their age. And that may take another 6 months for them to get those results back. What the archaeologist is saying is basically that there is no, first of all, it was interesting, he claims that they think the site was already disturbed when they built I-88. And they found evidence that there were scrapings done on the property in the past. The second thing was they really didn't find anything significant. They do have probably close to 300 chips and charcoal, and they believe that the site was used on, not for overnight, but on a daily basis. They stopped there, had dinner, and then moved on. They didn't really have a camp there.
So, okay, so the significance of that is what?
There is no historic significance.
Okay,
So state,
will we have to check some more?
no,
Is that upstream to be analyzed?
What's the potential when they analyze it?
so what's the potential for?
When they analyze the pieces? I mean, what's the low end and the high?
The low end is that it's basically 100.
A picnic spot. Okay, so,
They don't think there's anything for historic that they dug up.
So it looked to me like the report from the archaeologist was accepted by Historic Preservation, correct?
Mhm.
And so then they made a comment about something with the DEC.
The comment with the state parks basically says, we're satisfied with the report.
Right.
However, when you go to construction, DEC still has to give a permit.
of course.
Drainage, runoff, those protections.
And they're saying to DEC, we think you should just sign off on it right now.
Okay, so
Okay.
theoretically, we're clear sailing from here forward.
Yes.
Okay, so the closing could happen.
Yeah, the attorney and the buyer are happy with the results.
Okay. Old business, any new business, unfinished business, any other reason we should keep talking? Meeting adjourned?
Hey, Tim, Carol, and